What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 14 of our Build in Public series. I'm Casey Baggs, the founder and the CEO of Nurl, the platform for tabletop roleplay game designers, where we are building an app, an entire platform, but this year we're releasing an app that will streamline tabletop roleplay game development while also creating a community, a hub, a single source of truth for all designers in the community to design games and streamline to production. So excited about it. And this is the series where I walk you through what we've accomplished this week in building and kind of talk you through the why, the directions we're going, and kind of give you that behind the scenes footage. None of this stuff is edited. I don't edit these. These are one shot takes. What you see is what you get. And if this is your first time, you just don't know anything about Nurl or Sanctum in general, hey, what's up? Welcome. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. You'll get first quality information. But all you need to know is we're building a platform for tabletop roleplay game designers. Every other industry has tools for game design or design in general, regardless of if you're a photographer, illustrator, freaking layout, print layout design. Everyone has everything. Tabletop roleplay game designers have nothing. We're still using notes apps, which could care less if you are designing a tabletop roleplay game. It's nuts. We're fixing that. We're building a tool devoted to creating that community, to allowing you to know how to enter the community, to being that entry point to making game design accessible, but also streamlining the game design in a way that scales. So regardless if this is your first ever thing you're producing for the community, regardless of if it's a supplemental material or a massive project that's going to have core rule books, monster manuals, whatever, regardless of your size, regardless if you're the one person team, or if you're a bigger company like Free League or Paizo or whoever, you're going to be taken care of within Sanctum. It's made for you. And most importantly, we don't use AI. We're a human-made company. In this world that we live in, where we're just losing our minds to using these machines in hopes that it will somehow empower us, when all we're doing is just giving people running the machines all the power to enslave us, which is from the Doom creator. It's just wild. We are probably... It's just going to be rare, human-made companies, human-made tech companies in the future. So if you're using a notes app, for example, to design games, unfortunately, you are promoting the AI culture and AI industry, because that stuff is forced onto you without you having any control about it. I am very proud to be a part of that resistance that we have in the tabletop roleplay game industry of being a human-made tech company, and you're never going to have that influence or pressure to be forced into AI like we are in every aspect of our lives now. It's sad. But anyway, so I'm stoked about that. Oh, I just had a crisis. Anyways, let's jump right into it. This week, so it's been a long time since we've recorded one of these. Last month, basically the world blew up. Our servers went down, and the tool, like, we don't use a lot. We intentionally keep our dependencies that we use to a minimum to keep performance high and to reduce the risk of like security and potential other like super nerd stuff. But unfortunately, one of the foundational tools we use had a massive bug that we happened to uncover out of the entire community. So I had to work with them, with the core development team, to kind of figure out why is this happening and get that fix patched, shipped. And thankfully, we've crossed that hurdle. It took a month, so we have been massively delayed this year, which breaks my heart, but like, we can't control that stuff. So I'm happy to say that we are finally back. I don't even know what on track is anymore, but we're back to making progress. And so my goal is to hopefully we could get this out to our beta early adopters in our beta group by the end of the second quarter. And so that's the goal. Hopefully we can hit that. I feel good about it. So let's dive into what we've accomplished this week, because now we're getting to the good stuff. All last year, it was setting up that foundation of things that you're seeing the car being built, but it's still like you're still not really understanding what the car is going to be, just that it's going to be a car. Now we're getting to the point to where you can start seeing all the pieces come together. And so I'm very proud to say, like, we are building, I've said this in the past, like, we're building a Volvo. We're not building a Ford or a used car. We're building something that's going to be reliable and is going to scale and last and be highly efficient. So let's kick right into it. So this week was all about trying to get our core resolution wrapped up for our game system file. So you can see we're in our indie collective organization. We have a lot of repositories. So in the future, I was talking with Nurl, the creator of Mörk Borg, and I'm just kind of getting a feel of it, kind of like a user test. And the word repository kind of threw him off. And I've never really liked that because it is kind of pretty super nerd culture, like on the developer side. So I think I'm going to turn this into either projects or games, since, I mean, it's a tool for tabletop roleplay game development, so we could just be very specific to games. So just keep an eye out on that. So just pretend these are each individual projects or games. So we have our open source game, anyone can contribute to. We have our admin only game, that's me. I'm the only person out of this entire organization that could see that project because I created it. And we have our internal game. Everyone in this organization can see. No one outside of the organization can see. And then I added 2, because what we're doing today is showing how to set up a core resolution manually if you wanted to do it on a custom level, which should be rare. We're going to provide one-click templates that will automatically set everything up for you. We're going to cover that in a future video. But for today, we're going to look at manually creating those systems. So we're going to look at 3 different situations. First, we're going to start out at our open source game. This is where we're going to handcraft an entire custom core resolution that's going to be your basic core resolution with your polyhedral set. Then we're going to look at the badass system. So shout out to John Baltisberger, one of our early adopters. He has created his own game system called the badass system. And that uses a D6 pool in a completely different core method resolution. And so we're going to basically build the dice set, the core resolution set of the badass system, just to show that Sanctum supports dice pools, if you're interested in using dice pools. And then lastly, another early adopter, the creator of Cravat, just recently funded on Kickstarter. Congrats. Big fan of Cravat. And Cravat is a hack or a reskin of Cyborg, which is also a hack of Mörk Borg. So we're going to see how it's like just extending Cyborg and see that inheritance that we should adopt, like that entire pyramid of inheritance from all the way down to Mörk Borg, all the way up to Cyborg. So let's see how that goes. I didn't test that out, but in theory, that's how we built this. So this will be the real test. So let's dive right into it. In our open source game, we have in our main branch, we have a Spark file. This is, of course, our idea board. I'm going to create a new branch called feed system because it's hard to type with the mic here. I'm going to create that branch. This is going to give us a scoped area that we can work in that's not going to affect other people working on the project. So we branched from the main, so we get the entire history of that point in time from main. We're going to create a new system file. And so just in case, like real version control, notice I say real version control because like what Notes app provides, that's not version control. Real version control where you have branches and history and pull requests, which will be showing off in the future. This allows you to have those scoped silos to be able to work individually without overriding other people's work. So if I go back to the main branch, for example, the system file doesn't exist in this point in time. It exists in our feature system. So this is real version control that we're delivering in Sanctum. Okay, so let's go into the system. Let's pretend this is a custom system. So we're building this from scratch. We're acknowledging that out of all the systems and then proven, like there's about like 10 solid core systems out there, like foundationally, that exist. And we're saying, you know what? Forget all those. We want to make our own and just make it custom. And put our own footprint in the world. So, for example, the creator of Hellspawn just released this new system that I think it just uses one dice, and it's a D13 D13 dice. So total chaos. I think they're like the most unnecessary thing or whatever. But so let's build that. So we're going to start in our system file. This file is devoted to the game engine, nothing else. So we have very game engine specific features within this file. We start out with the mechanics section, our core resolution. Now, core resolution, if you're unfamiliar with game design, it is literally what it says. It's the single core way you resolve things, resolution, within your game system. And there's three parts, essentially three aspects of a core resolution that matter. You have the core resolution, which is essentially the tool, which is what we see here. And essentially you have three different tools. For now, we're only supporting dice, but once we get dice covered, then we'll support cards, then we'll support a block tower. But essentially, let's say your game, you want to use dice, but also a block tower. That's totally fine. You're totally going to be able to do that in Sanctum. The difference is you just need to choose which one of those things you want to be the core way to resolve things, like checks, essentially, within your game. And that's essentially makes sure that you're going to have a positive user experience that's easy for people to understand. So, for example, I think another one of our early adopters, I think it's Beefy Shotgun Wizards. They use both dice as their core resolution, but also involve a block tower. A block tower, we would add that to the block section, which will show off in the future. Today is all about resolution. So let's choose dice because we want to add a dice set. So now that we've seen that we've added the tool, now the system knows, okay, you're chosen dice, so you need to add a dice set. So let's do that. We're going to add a set, and now we see this sidebar. Right now, we're not showing any templates. We haven't built those in. That will be a future video. Today, we're focusing on the manual process of creating your own. I do recommend in the future when we release, just sticking with the templates. Like this, you should only be manually creating things. If you honestly want to work harder, but some people like that low level engineering. But just to be clear, like our templates are just going to allow you to have all of this stuff set up that you can still customize just with one click. But we'll talk about that in the future. Today, we're going to talk about creating the custom set. So we have our list of methods that we need to choose first. Oops, I see a UI bug, stuff popping through our Z-index layer just because I don't have a background color. Silly me. I build design systems for a living, and I totally forgot about that in ours. So I'll fix that this next week. But here we have different methods. These are, I think it's like 10 of the most common methods within the tabletop roleplay game industry. So, for example, most games use roll over, which means you hit a number within a check, you need to hit that number or over. Roll under is like Dragonbane. And I think Mothership is what I was told this week. I haven't read anything about Mothership yet. I think they're roll under, so it's the number or below you have to get to be successful. We're going to do roll over. And when you select that, we're going to give a detailed summary of what that is, just to make sure, in case you're a new designer, that you for sure know this is the thing you want to select. But once you do this, you will always be able to customize like this stuff and change it later. None of this is a big deal. So now that we have our preferred method of the resolution, let's add the dice. And so let's get silly and put the D13 because that doesn't exist. And if we wanted to add another, we can add as many dice as we want. We don't. We just want this single D13. And we're going to add that. And as soon as we do, now we're starting to see what this page is all about. We have this overview summary of stuff we haven't finished yet, like because we're still building this out. So we're going to be able to tell like what the game speed is and kind of give you this details of what this core resolution is all about. We know that it's a method. It has one dice. There is no identifier, which in this game, we haven't set up the options yet. That will be future, but essentially that's the last thing is you have your tool, your method, and your identifier of the dice set. An identifier, that's the main die used for a check. So in a standard polyhedral, a D20 is pretty much always going to be the identifier. For this set, because there's only one dice, a D13 will always be an identifier. So I'm going to make a note. This would be a good thing for us to streamline build in, is if you have one dice in the set, that should automatically be the identifier. Okay, so we don't have that set up. So this is essentially it. So in the future, in our future videos, once you have this set up as a dice, you'll be able to come to this analysis tab that looks super nerdy right now. But this is going to have like your dice analysis math stuff, like your probabilities. What is the average roll out of the set? Create pools of dice to kind of just experiment with the mathematics of probability regarding your dice set. So really fun tools that you'll have in this section. Once again, future video. Okay, so this was a custom setup and what to expect here. Now let's go to the Z-index issue. The menu. I'm gonna fix that next week. Now let's go to the badass system where we have our system file already set up. And we're going to see what it's like using a dice pool and how that's different, which it really isn't different. It's kind of the same thing. So we're going to choose a dice. And now that we have dice, we're going to add our set. And within dice pool, for the most part, most of the time you're going to use a success roll where you roll a group of dice, count how many individual hit a specific number. That's for the most part, that's like a pool method that is commonly used. So, of course, in pools, you use a D6. So we're going to create 4 D6, which I think that's how the badass system, like, you start with 4. Forgive me if that's incorrect, Baltisperger. Forgive me. But here we have 4 of the same dice item, essentially a pool. So when we add that, everything's the same, which for you, it just means that we support dice pools, which is great. So that's really it. Same thing. So we haven't hooked up the game speed. Now that we support, like, essentially, we're able to analyze the different types of dice sets you're creating. This is where, like, we're still figuring out what type of information we want in this overview analysis. But it's essentially allows us, like, your analysis tab will be, you can think of it as your dynamic mathematical tools. The overview is going to be kind of what's the overall feel of the core resolution in the information of it. So, for example, game speed will be able to tell if, based on the set and the tool and the method, like, is your game going to be a faster paced game, a slower paced game? And we can add as much information here as possible. So as a designer, is there something you've always wished you kind of knew about a dice set? Like, I kind of toyed around, like, can we create, like, personality profiles, like we do with people, like INTJ or whatever? Can we do that with dice sets? Like, it's open possibility. So I've even thought about showing just your overview mini charts of, like, the curves. For you would only really have a bell curve if you have a pool of dice. So a standard polyhedral is pretty much going to be flat on everything. But you let me know in the comments, like, what are you interested in seeing that would be of value for this when you're looking at other people's or your own core resolution information. Okay, so that's dice pool, and that leaves our last one. So we're going to go back to our collective, and let's go to Cravat. Now, this is going to be the most streamlined. We have our Cravat engine, and it's in a public repository. So this means in the future, if Cravat, and let's test this out. Like, when they publish, other people will be able to use the Cravat engine. So notice this is a new file. We haven't set anything up, and I don't want to set anything up. I am like, Cravat is a hack of another system. So what I want to do is, instead, I want to go to our extensions tab, and notice we have 2 systems to choose from. Cyborg, the fake Cyborg, because this is all fake data, or fake Mörk Borg system. And you may be tempted to add both of these because your brain is used to working harder than you have to, because you've probably been living in a notes app, and that's just not necessary with Sanctum. So within this system that we've built, the goal is to streamline everything and to make game development as easy as possible. So let's just pay attention to a few things here. We haven't created any resolution. We haven't done anything. We have no licenses assigned. But we do know that we want to create like, Cravat at its core is a reskin of Cyborg. So all I'm going to do is add the fake Cy engine. We see that we've added it. We have one dependency, and look, we're licensed now. Interesting. And we can remove it if we want. We still haven't added Mörk Borg. So let's go into licenses and just see what happens. Like, do you understand how amazing this is? Like, by clicking one button, we've just provided the inherited tree of, like, hacks. So Cyborg is a hack of Mörk Borg. Therefore, Cyborg inherits the Mörk Borg license by nature. And by us accepting the Cyborg license, we inherit both of those licenses. And we've just streamlined that. So now you don't have to worry about licenses at all. Like now your licenses are inherited and built in. And if we wanted to make a custom cravat license, we still have the ability to create our own license on top of these. And then if we ever publish this file, whoever uses the cravat system will inherit all 3 licenses magically. So like this is such a big deal. Okay, so let's go to resolution. Look, we've inherited the resolution. We can see that we have the identifier set up. Essentially, most people know that Cyborg and Mörk Borg use the same dice set, use most of the same everything. And so by nature, like there's nothing really for us to tweak. And in the future, if we wanted to kill one of these dice, we could totally do that. And that would be now the cravat system. And so that's it for this week. Like a major milestone for us to catch back up. And we just validated, we're so close to being done on the core resolution area. And I'm thankful for like the world blowing up last month, because it's allowed me to stop and take time to rethink kind of how we're approaching this whole thing, to make sure we're covering all the bases. And now I can confidently say that we are. So that's essentially it this week. In the next episode, we'll look at how do you customize the dice, and kind of remove and change things in the core resolution. And then we'll go over what analysis looks like at the video after that. And then we'll start looking at blocks. And that's where I think more pieces of the puzzle will come together, because blocks contribute to formulas, and both of those contribute to your rules. And once you have all of those things established, then we're ready to create our, if we go back to the repo, we're ready to start building our other files. So like a core book, or even the lore, where we could start seeing that we can tag things in those more text-based like notes type editors, to where all of this stuff will hopefully start making sense on how it all fits together. That will essentially streamline your game development and get you to lay out that much faster. So that's it this week, a little bit longer. We had a lot more examples. Tell me what you think. Are you excited? I'm excited. Like, I can't wait to start building games with this. Designing games. I have big plans with the Nurl game portfolio. Like, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, hopefully partnering with a lot of designers and illustrators. And so let me know what you think. Are you excited? Just as excited as we are about where this is going? Drop me a comment, please. Like the video, share it, do everything. We're here for you. And that's it. Peace.